Welcome to the Inspired to be Authentic podcast. I'm your host, Matt Lancidel. Inspired to be Authentic is a podcast where we converse with people who are living their most authentic lives. We get real with our guests and talk openly about how they live with courage to be themselves. We explore barriers they have overcome to be more authentic and aligned to themselves and their purpose. Today's episode 19, and I am joined with Caitlyn Daroy.
Daroy, yeah.
Daroy, okay. In Canada, it would be Daroy, right? In the French part, so Daroy. Daroy, okay, right on.
Hey.
So welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so good to have you here.
Very excited.
So today we're going to be talking all about how to find and follow your unique purpose and passion. Super excited about this topic. Before we begin, I just want to introduce you and kind of let the audience know a bit about who you are and what you're about. So Caitlyn trained as an actor and has been working as a freelancer for the past 10 years. Aware of the lack of support offered to creatives and freelancers, Caitlyn founded the Authentic Project in 2017 with the intention to build a platform which offered the freelancer all-around support in order for them to thrive in their chosen profession. Caitlyn believes that vulnerability and raw honesty are the most powerful qualities we have as humans. They have the power to open us up to new experiences, to push us to take steps we wouldn't normally take, and to allow us to forge real connections with people. Combine that with some focus, a healthy mind, and a lot of silliness, and you'll be ready to go. I love it. I absolutely love that.
Big time.
We're so aligned in our purpose and what we're offering to the world. I first off want to just ask you, how did you get to this place where authenticity was a focal point in allowing you to forge forward and just be who you are? Walk us through your story.
As probably for everyone, it's been a process, but I've been lucky enough to have been brought up in a way that I was never told what to do. I was never told you can't do this, you have to do this. So I never really had any boundaries to break. It was just a very supportive environment always. And I was brought up quite alternatively and always very open about talking about what was going on. And for a long time, I was one of the few people who would be claiming emotions and being like, I'm feeling this, it's okay, it doesn't define who I am. And then life happens, school happens, and then I went to drama school. And it was a big success for me. And I was like, yes, I've done this, this is brilliant, this is what I want. Because for forever I wanted to act, and was my passion for so long, because it was the feeling, which I didn't know to begin with, but the feeling of impacting other people and allowing other people to feel emotions, which is the reason a lot of people go to the theatre anyways, to sit there and to feel emotions that they're not comfortable feeling or they don't have permission to feel for some weird reason or another.
Yeah.
And then drama school was a hell of a lot of drama. I came out feeling less than I went in. I came out feeling more self-conscious, just less of a good actor. I was doubting my instincts, I was doubting my gut, because you get thrown so many different techniques on in drama school that you don't quite know where your true alignment is.
Ooh,
so yeah, and coming out, I was just like, I didn't really know which way was up, and I was like, no, I need to be an actor. This is what I've wanted to do for forever. So I played that for a bit. I played that out and process and progress. And I met a lot of people as an actor, you probably know, there's a lot of freelancing gigs, hospitality, working with various people who are performers or creatives who don't have a 9-to-5 job. And I just started to realize that so many people felt alone in what they were doing. Like, as soon as you said, oh, I'm actually worried about when I'm going to next get paid, or I don't know if I'm going to get this job, someone else, they would agree. They'd be like, oh, me too. But no one ever spoke about anything. And I actually connected to this one girl at work who we had a very great conversation, and later joined Starting Authentic with her. And that was really the truth about, we're all feeling these things, but we don't speak about them. And it was like having the permission to go, hey, do you know what? I'm feeling a bit icky today, not very confident, not in myself, but equally going, do you know what? I feel amazing. And I started this session and selection of interviews with women in the arts about overcoming limitations, breaking through them, because there was a lot of pointing the finger in the arts about, oh, it was that casting director, it was that director, they made me do this, they're the reason why I'm not where I want to be. And there was a lot of that going on, and not a lot of owning, actually, why aren't I letting myself be there? Because there's the whole thing of like, sometimes you're scared of how great you can really be, and people are terrified of that, and it's a lot safer to stay where you know, where's comfortable, than it is to break through these limitations. And I remember speaking to one girl who is an actor and writer, and she was saying how she went to an audition, and usually you come out and people are like, how's it going? Oh yeah, it went okay, it went fine. But actually she came out and she went, you know what, I smashed that, it was brilliant. And she got such an authentic response from it, because it was real, it was genuine, it wasn't arrogant. And then I was starting to process that whole thing. It's equally going, do you know what, I'm not feeling good, and equally I'm feeling great, I smashed that, this is amazing. And then that fast forwarded, that developed into the authentic projects in more of a practical sense, that freelancers are often the people who've gone out at it alone, risked something, think outside the box, and really the people who need the support, because we're the people who we work alone, there's no community, and a lot of us feel like we're the only person feeling something, but actually we're all in it together. So the Authentic Project was a harness for that, and that has progressed onwards, and now I'm developing courses to help people break through limitations, come to the next level, realize their true potential, because that's my passion, because everyone has that amazingness in them. They're just one step beyond, and they just need the tools or the techniques or the little bit of inspiration to push through to that next level. So that's where I am today. Not my journey.
Yeah, we share so much in common. Like everything that you were saying there was exactly my journey, and how we're delivering that is very similar as well. One of the limitations that I work with mostly is shame. And that is a big thing that holds people back. And it's the thing that dims our light. And it's the thing that tells us to hide in secrecy and not let other people know our struggles. What are some limitations that you come up against in your work?
A big one for me in the past has been not being good enough. It's been a massive one. It came up big time during acting. I used to do a course, actually, called AMAW, it's Anthony Mendel acting class, and they're all over the world. They're based in LA, but they have them in Canada and London and all over the place. And the idea of their courses, just a little condensed thing, it's the idea of acting is the fact is that you're never someone else, you're always yourself, and it's just unpeeling yourself. It's not putting on anything, it's going, I'm feeling vulnerable, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, and accessing that aspect of yourself. So in these cold read classes, the idea of the teacher is to push you into certain emotions or certain places you wouldn't naturally go to in day-to-day life, which are there and which for some reason you're not looking at or you're not sitting with. And because usually the blocks in your work are the blocks in your life, which the whole ethos of that is, and it's very true. And there was one class where I just wasn't able to connect for one reason or another, and there was a big block. And I remember the teacher just going to me, Caitlyn, you are enough, just as you don't need to do anything, you don't need to put on anything, you are enough. And I get too emotional just thinking about it, but it's the most powerful words you can ever be told, because I think a lot of us put on so much that we need to be so much else, need to prove so much, but actually we're all so enough as we are. And that was a big thing, and I'm still processing lots of that in different aspects. But I think every challenge you go through, highlights a different aspect of that, and you break through it in a different way, and sometimes you think, oh, I'm over that, and then it'll come back, but that's not a bad thing at all. But that's something which has been a constant for me, of not being good enough or whatever.
Yeah. One of my most popular podcast episodes is around how to break down the I'm not good enough syndrome that we all experience. And I think the reason why it's the most popular is because we all struggle with it.
Exactly.
So how are you working your way through that?
Oh, it's a wobbly road. I have wobbles. Wobbles I call just like times and days where, for one reason or another, I just feel not very grounded, not I don't want to say not in alignment, but just a bit knocked for some reason or another. But I know that's when I'm in it, it's tough, and I have to speak to myself to realize, no, this is teaching me something, I'm learning something from it, but also going, no. And of course, in all of us, there's that like loggerheads about what I'm feeling, something, I don't want to be feeling it. I know that I can change this, but also I'm very much in it. So I've got a lot better at it now, because I now can locate when it comes up and the feeling of it, and I physically feel it in my body. Like I feel the kind of, it's like I was speaking to someone the other day, and it was like a shield around my heart. And like when you feel insecure and not good enough, you kind of like, you want to just get under a blanket. But now, and you have to push through. And I think which actually teach me more now, which I've actually just realized, is having to walk my talk.
Yeah.
And sit in that. How do you find that? How do you find getting over?
I'm just giggling because that was my day yesterday. I had such a tough day yesterday where I shut down work, and I hid inside myself, and I was just feeling really off. And part of my journey was to allow it to be there. And the more we try and push something away, the more it persists, and because it needs to be experienced. And that's actually my next question to you. So it's a perfect segue. How important is feeling our feelings to aligning to our authenticity?
So much.
Yeah.
I'm laughing just because sometimes the emotions are not the most comfortable emotions to sit in, or they're not necessary. And I think we have, as society, we have labeled some emotions as good or bad, or I can't feel this, or if I feel that, I'm weak. And I think that's an awfully, I don't know, stagnant-y, horrible label to put on things, because those emotions, say sadness, grief, everything, they're not weak emotions. I see all emotions as equal. And aligning with authenticity, and giving yourself the permission to feel them. And once you do, they pass so much faster. Yeah. Because sometimes, we've all been there when we've just gone, oh God, I feel angry, I feel sad. No, I don't. And you kind of push it down to the side, and it's going to come out. It's going to come out somewhere, projected onto someone, onto something else. And because there's times when we react really dramatically to something, and usually it's not because of what's happening, it's because of something which we haven't dealt with before. But I would 100% agree with you there. Just very much aligned to it, and it's a process, and feeling them isn't always nice, but they're not bad emotions to feel, and they're not weak emotions to feel. They're all equally strong, and they're feeling these emotions is essentially just energy in motion. That's it. It's flowing, it's there, it's what makes us human. And that's a lot of my ethos with the authentic is, we feel emotions, that's brilliant. It means we're alive, which means we're human, we're experiencing, we're processing, because otherwise they just fester. And also it's totally fine to have days when you just want to curl up in a ball. They're normal, because if we felt great the whole time, it would be okay, fine, but you wouldn't have the contrast to really, really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, and this is why vulnerability is so powerful, because a lot of the things that we want to be vulnerable about are the things we don't want people to see about us. And for people to know that I'm experiencing depression on some days, right? That relatability right there is so powerful for someone to feel safe in their experience of depression or anxiety, right? So I think it's yeah, authenticity really is our superpower as human beings. Or vulnerability, sorry, is our superpower as human beings.
Big time.
Yeah.
100%.
You had made a comment about feeling things in your body, and I'm curious because for me, my authentic expression has been so much more heightened and just by being more present in my body. I've been very much heady my whole life and experiencing my life in my head, and it wasn't until I started to really connect to my body and allow myself to experience life through my body that I really started to connect with the truth and the energy of who I really am, not what I am, but who I am, the energy of who I am. What's your experience around that been like?
Do you know what? I'm very much a physical person. I believe that we're here to experience life physically and to do whatever you believe. I believe we're energy in a physical body, and just right now, wherever we're experiencing that. But in a sense, I'm very much into emotions working their way through your body, and sometimes if they're not processed, they log somewhere in your body, they stick there, and that can develop into diseases or whatever it is. I fully feel the connection between the mind and body, and I can feel when I haven't done, say, my meditation or my yoga or my workout or been outside or anything, and I know the benefit that has for me. That sometimes if I'm just feeling so foggy-headed and I'm really unfocused and I'm working and I just can't do anything, I find that getting in my body really helps in that aspect, because it connects the two for me. And I think a lot of the time, most people are very heady because we live in a world where we need to think our way out of things. But feeling our way out of things is so much easier. I don't know, for me anyway, not for a lot of people, but it's a lot simpler. It's not overcomplicated. And once you feel your way out of things, feel what your body needs, I feel like your body always has the answer. And it's the whole thing of like following your gut. Your gut knows always.
Yeah.
It's usually your first response, yes, no.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm definitely a physical thing, just a physical thing. And shift in that aspect at big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a very similar experience, and that is how I've aligned to the truth of who I am, is through my body, through my gut, and
really
connecting to my my intuition has been a huge part of connecting to my authenticity, because I feel things and I feel other people, and everything is about feeling for me. I'm very, very clairsentient in that ability to be able to kind of draw on other people's feelings, but also be able to draw on my own. You have to have a connection to your own feeling repertoire to be able to connect to other people's feelings, right? Because that's kind of the bridge. So yeah, definitely that's been the biggest aspect for me is connecting to my body and my feelings and my gut. And that's how I've really drawn into alignment, really.
There's also something there with knowing, once you're in tune with your own emotions, you know what's yours and you know what's someone else's. Because sometimes you can pick up someone else's stuff and realize,
oh yeah,
oh God. And then once you know what's going on with you, you don't have to take things so personally. You realize nothing is your fault. It's just everyone else's emotions at a time, and everyone just banging into each other at one thing.
Yeah.
And there's something so freeing about not taking things personally. Go, okay, that's just where someone is today. Just like if I respond to someone in a way, I know that's just where I am today. And I think that is so freeing. And some people might think it's, I don't know, scary or simple, but for me, it's like, okay, cool. I have the freedom to feel my emotions and choose whether I want to get affected by someone else.
Exactly.
Big time.
Yeah. So we both have the word authentic or authenticity in the title of what we do. So let's break this down. I've been actually grappling with what authenticity means and what it means to me. So I'm curious, what does that word mean to you? To be authentic.
To be authentic to me is to be truly in alignment with what is going on with you at any given moment, and to accept and embrace that, and to realize that's all part of being human, and that's all part of this experience. And by doing so, that's how we grow, because for me, it's a stepping stone of challenges and wobbles and celebrations and ups and downs. But once you truly sit in that, it's like Brené Brown, living in the ring, being courageous, stepping out there every day, being open to being seen for your wounds, your scars, your brilliance, because by living in that space, other people see that and go, I have the permission to do that too. It's not that bad or that scary, and it is just who I am. And that's what connects me to people. Like, I have no interest in small talk or anything. I want to know like, I want to know what lights you up. Like, what are you passionate about? I don't care what your job is. I want to know if you love it.
Yeah. Oh God. That's so well said too. Cause I'm like, I really struggle with small talk. I don't go to like events where it's pretentious and stuff, because it would just pull me out of my element. My element is like, if I go to a party, I'm not the guy doing rounds and having little bits of conversation with everybody. I'm like, I hone in on like 2 or 3 people max, and I go like an hour with each person. You know what I mean? Like, because that's where I thrive. So I totally get that. Is authenticity dynamic? Is it fluid? Like, is it constantly changing? Like, or because you said moment by moment, right? Like honoring who we are moment by moment. Is it changing? Is it something that we know that this is who I am and this is what I need to continue to work towards? Or is it always moving and changing with our beliefs and our attitudes and our ideas? And
such a great question. I'd say it is constantly changing, because it is moment by moment, because you can't predict how you're going to feel in the next second. And sometimes you're kind of hit sideways about, oh God, I wasn't expecting to feel that. Whether you go somewhere, feel something, smell something, sometimes you get a bit shifted. And sometimes it might not be practical to be as authentic, depending on where you are. To have your authentic emotions, you might feel like bursting into tears, you might feel like doing anything. But I say it is always shifting, it is always dynamic, because we are constantly in motion, we are constantly in flow, we're constantly developing, growing, breaking through barriers. And also other people are dealing with stuff and battling with wobbles and demons and successes and brilliances, and part of being human. And everyone's kind of dancing the dance together, and you kind of get a bit hit by everyone, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way, but always just in a way that hits your emotions in some way. Have you found that? Or?
I think I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I'm still learning and growing through it. And I think for me, I kind of have 2 ways of framing what authenticity means. And I think I have we have the self-concept of who we are in our minds, and we have these constructs of who we are in our minds, and we try and align and be authentic to that, right? So I am a son, I'm a coach, I'm a this, I'm a that, and I try and live my life to be authentic to my purpose and my passion based off of how I construct my world from my mental self. And then I'm now learning that I have this other self, this energetic self, that's this infinite self that is connected to everybody else. And I feel like that's where I'm now learning how to define what's authentic to me is through this expression of energy. And so yeah, I think it is constantly changing and it's fluid, regardless, because energy is constantly changing and moving, and you know, one moment I could feel lower vibration, the next moment I can feel higher vibration, and I'm riding this roller coaster of life. So it's always about pausing in every moment and grounding myself and honoring what this experience is trying to show me and teach me. And I think when I align to that, I'm constantly growing and evolving, which is something that's really important to me being authentic, is I'm always changing and growing and evolving. So yeah, I would agree with you for sure.
Definitely. It's interesting you say it is two different things. Like you're saying the mind, and sometimes you can get very stuck in the mind of who am I, what people are going to think of me, and constantly worry. And I found that usually when you get too in your head about judgment and what people are going to think of you and how far you are and X, Y, Z, that's where things don't flow anymore.
Yeah.
Things stop and things get very constricted, and sometimes you can sit in that space for days and then suddenly on the fifth day just break out of it and be like, oh, that was silly.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing, right?
Yeah.
We can change so dramatically from one day to the other based off of just allowing energy to move. That's really what it comes down to.
These are great. Really getting me thinking. I hadn't thought of it in that way before. It's great.
Yeah. I'm always kind of grappling with this stuff, and I've always wondered, I'm like, do other people have this experience, this dichotomy or this dualism between head and heart as I do? Because I always feel like I'm experiencing life in this crazy roller coaster of like up, down, up, down. I drop into my heart and then I'm back up in my mind. And, you know, I'm a Gemini, and Geminis are air signs, and it's all about dualism. So we experience a part of our world through our mind, and we experience a part of our world through our hearts. And for me, it's been about balance. How can I come more into alignment of allowing myself to move through these worlds without it having to be so extreme? And so yeah, I think that's really what I'm working with now, is learning how I can maybe it's just not judge my experience. Maybe that's what it comes down to, because the head experience of life is just as valid as the heart experience of life, right? Okay. And I think part of my experience has been about, there's an aspect of me that rejects that. I want to be more heart centered. I want to be more spiritual. I want to be more of these things. And sometimes I maybe not validate. Sometimes I don't validate the experience of my mind and what my mind can offer the moment.
I think the power comes when you bring it together.
Yeah.
You go, my mind's powerful, my body's powerful, my spirit's powerful, and it all comes together somewhere in the middle. Yeah. Like, you know, when you get that feeling when it's something like it's grounded in you, it's grounded in truth. And I think a lot of people feel this, but don't have the language or the experience to know what it is. So might just put it off as, oh, I have mental health problems, I have anxiety, I'm feeling icky, oh God, that's a weakness. And we're not brought up in a society which celebrates and promotes any sort of acceptance for this. So it is someone's own journey, and it's a courageous journey to go through, because most people go, I'm going to do everything because I should do it. And never actually ask themselves what they want to do, what their passion is, why they like it. And it takes time and takes a big progress and process to get there, but I'm fully a believer that you're always growing there, and you're never ever fully there. And I think that's actually brilliant, because you're constantly learning. You're here to be here, and you're bringing your head, your heart, your spirit, your mind together in this world. And just some people haven't found that yet, may never do, or they are 1,000 years along in that journey. But each of those is perfect for where they are. But I just don't think we have that language as a society to support that.
Yeah, I agree. And it reminds me of the question I have on my Instagram, which is, how much of me can I be?
I love that.
And a lot of people, they hold back how much of them they can be. Like, why do we do this as human beings? This is what we need to clear out of the way, right? Because this is what's preventing us from stepping into our passion and our purpose, because we're afraid of being all that we can be. Because of what? What are we so afraid of as human beings?
It's crazy when you think of that, isn't it? You go, why? We have this experience on earth. Why are we just making it harder for ourselves?
Yeah.
Mad. But we all do it. I do it. Everyone I know does it. And I think it comes down to feeling safe. And it's that idea of your comfort zone and fear and not wanting. I've been researching a lot into fear of failure and this idea that people don't want to be judged. And I had a realization a few weeks ago about from when we're like 2, we are taught that in order to fit in, we need to be the same as everyone else. We're taught that everyone has a school uniform. If you wear something different, you'll get bullied. If you think differently, you're weird. If you don't go to university, then you're going, oh, well, they'll fail at life. If you go out on your own, you're like, no, they're not going to do it. How are you going to make money? So we're constantly ridiculed and told it's, in order to succeed in life, we need to be the same as everyone else.
Yeah.
Which is, it's crazy. I've just gone on a bit of a tangent there. I can't remember the train of thought you were talking about.
We were just talking about how much of me can I be and what gets in the way. But you answered it beautifully.
That's right, yeah.
It's conformity.
It's conformity, and that's safety. And we're not used to stepping outside that, because we have this should box of I've done this, I've done that. And to step out of that, it takes courage. So daily people need to step into that, and that's harder than it sounds. I'll just step and do it, because it links to different things in everyone. It could be lack of self-worth, like worried about money, worried about what people are going to think of you, whether you're going to fail or not. And I was thinking about that for so long, realizing no, that's so backwards. We're taught to be the same as everyone else, but actually, in order to be truly authentic, we need to not be like everyone else. But everything's a bit backwards. So in order to find that truth and your purpose, you need to have the courage to step out of that cycle to really be able to listen to what's going on with you. So it would take a shift for someone or something to spark that in them to realize, oh, it's okay to follow my gut, to do something different.
Yeah. You just made me think of something. In the sense of conformity, we have the experience from society to feel the need to conform, but we also have the experience of, as a human being, to want other people to conform, because conformity in other people makes us feel safe. It makes us feel like they're like us, right? And I feel like we're taught that in countries, in nations, in subgroups, in cultures, that we want these people to be like us, so we have the same experience of them as we have of ourselves. They're mirroring back to us safety. And I think that's where we need to really get out of this. We need to get out of this idea that we need other people to be like us and share our beliefs to feel safe. Because once we give permission to other people to be authentic, we're energetically giving ourselves permission to be authentic. So I think it's like a double-edged sword. We need to make sure that what we're wanting from society, we're also willing to give to society, in the sense of when it comes to authenticity.
Big time.
Does that make
sense? Also the opposite. Yeah. It's also the opposite way as well. Like, you living your life authentically inspires others to do that as well.
Yeah.
And there's this thing, conforming, and also being a cheerleader for other people.
Yes.
Which I'm big on, because there needs to be so much more of, hey, my friend's doing amazingly, not, oh God, what are they doing and I'm not doing.
Yeah, comparison.
Yeah, but that's going to happen anyway. But to bring each other up, and to, like you're saying, it brought up the image of just being in a tribe and a community and everyone wanting to be the same and conforming, and that safety. To me, that just went, oh, what I truly desire is to be in that group where everyone's experiencing whatever they're experiencing, but everyone is supporting and holding the space and celebrating that and elevating, being the wind beneath each other's wings. So then everyone rises. There's a whole thing of like the tide rises all boats, so everyone can ascend.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Are you an empath? You strike me as an empath.
Talking about this with a friend the other day. I think I'm understanding and very good at and love holding spaces, and I just accept and where people are with no judgment. And I think I personally know I need to be aware of not taking other people's stuff on.
Yeah, that's what made me think of it.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I love hearing where people are at any moment, and I'm fully there for everyone to be wherever they are. But then also just to be there for the journey, for the ride, not just sit in that space of, because it can fester depending on where people are. And it's, like we said, it's constantly moving, constantly developing, instead of this is what I'm feeling and this is what I'm going to feel forever.
Yeah.
But accepting the journey and accepting the feeling where everyone is. Would you say you were an empath?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been an empath since I was, well, my whole life, really. And, you know, I want to share an experience, because a lot of my life being an empath, I feel people's feelings, but predominantly the feelings I've experienced growing up were people's shame, were people's sadness, these sort of darker emotions. I can feel them. And it was very, very tough for me growing up to have this experience. And something I'm playing with now is learning how to invite other people's joy and love and celebration and success in, and allow myself to experience that, because part of me didn't allow myself to experience that, because what I would experience it as is jealousy, because I was comparing their experience with a lack thereof of within my experience. And something that this kind of really closely relates to purpose and passion, because for people that don't know what their purpose and passion is, one thing that can actually help us align to that is jealousy. Because jealousy shows us what we wish we had. And if you look at, okay, in this other person, I wish I had this. They have a really successful career. They're doing what I wish I could be doing. That aligns you to what you, so jealousy can be a signal within yourself trying to align you to what you want. And I just had that moment where I was realized, okay, I want to be able to revel in other people's experiences, not just their sadness and their pain. I want to be able to revel in their joy and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of what comes up when you said that.
Hearing you speak, there's like fireworks in my head with so many things. I had that realization the other day, big time, about just realizing that other people were in a certain place, and then going, oh God, oh no. And then going, oh, well, that's just highlighting where I want to be. But I'm also, it's a big patience game as well, especially freelancing and setting up a business. It's the patience game. It's a long game. You want everything to happen now.
Yeah.
And having to bring yourself back and reminding yourself of that. But that is a big one. Thank you for shining the light on that. It really, really is. And that whole thing about joy is the most vulnerable emotion you can feel.
Yeah.
And because it's the one where as soon as you feel immense joy, a lot of the time you'll be like hit by, oh God, that awful thing which could happen. And
right.
Yeah, Brené Brown gives the example of just looking at her children in bed sleeping, and she's just overwhelmed with joy, and she just can't understand how she loves them so much, and then suddenly she just thinks of something awful happening to them in a car crash, and then bam, and she's like, whoa. Because we have this thing of not being able to sit with joy because we're scared it'll go away, so we don't let ourselves sit in that place for that long, because if we forbear joy and if we go then no one else can let us down.
Yeah,
in a way.
It's crazy. And I think that's how people experience the fear of success. I don't know if I really believe in the fear of success, to be honest. I think it is a fear of failure, because we're afraid of having success and then it being taken away. So are we really afraid of success, or are we afraid of losing that, like fear of failing or fear of it being taken away from us. But yeah, it's definitely something I've struggled with, is allowing my light to shine brightly, because I worry about I worry about, like, maybe the responsibility, or I worry about it being taken away, or whatever it might be.
And also, as a lot of it is a fear of judgment. For women, especially if you are totally in your power and totally bossing it and being great, you get, oh God, am I being arrogant? Am I being too this? I don't want to be too much.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't allow themselves to sit there because it's a scary place to be. There was a quote I had the other day, which was just like, fear, there's no such thing as failure, really, at all.
Yeah.
Because it's only failure if you don't learn something. And every time you've failed at something, you've learned something, and it's taking you one step closer to where you are today. And you've learned something which you can teach someone else, which you can impact someone else's life, so then they go down a different path. So it's never actually failure. So most people, we have this warped perception of failure.
Yeah.
And I think the success thing comes from, well, from my opinion, from a lot of women, it's just not wanting to be judged.
Yeah.
And also, if you're fearing success, you're holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
You're going, oh, I'm going to do that. Oh, that means I have to do that.
Yeah.
It's a big thing to step into that and to keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I want to niche the conversation even further and talk a little bit about purpose and passion, and maybe just explore how we can start to align to these things. Because I think that's really important, is aligning to our purpose and our passion and what we've been brought on this earth to do. And I want to just preface this conversation with this. I had an experience growing up where I chose my purpose and passion based off of ego, based off of money, status, power, pleasing others, like our parents. These sorts of experiences pull us away from our authenticity and alignment. And I'm wondering, from your perspective, this is an area that you're well versed in. So how can we start to make the transition towards really aligning to what is good for us, for our heart and soul?
I think the first step is fun.
Fun.
Really, just going, well, what do I enjoy? What lights me up? What lights my soul up? What am I doing, even if you're working a job that you don't really like? What do I do otherwise? What sparks some sort of interest in me? And shifting the idea that, firstly, it needs to make millions, because I'm a firm believer, as if you're following what you really, really passionate about, money and everything works itself out around it, because passion and interest and expertise will come naturally because you are so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people around me find that and realize that it's about honing it. Because for me, training as an actor, and then I got to a point when I was bored of constantly waiting for other people to tell me that I was enough, or to tell me that I got a part or a role or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I asked myself, well, what do I love about it? And I found out that everything I loved about it, I could shift into something I was genuinely passionate about, impacting people breaking through their own passions, people finding their passions, living them and embracing who they all were authentically, whilst also being on a stage and having real conversations with people. Because I also run events where we speak really authentically about people's passions and journeys and how they've got to where they are today. And every single one of them is an entirely different journey, but each of them had to take that step into the unknown,
Mm.
and to realize that it is possible and it doesn't need to be how things should be. Because as you said, it is a lot to do with ego. And a lot of people do it because they want to prove to their parents that they can do something and prove to this. And the more we encourage this in people, then the younger people are going to start doing this. And then the more people are going to be doing what they love. And the more that's going to be impacting each other. So I'd say fun and stepping out of your comfort zone and not needing it all to happen at once. Because I feel like it happens. And even if it's not the biggest money making thing in the world, at least you're enjoying your life and not just wasting it going to work that you hate and then living for the weekend and then doing it all again.
Yeah, nothing will suck the joy out of you more than doing something for 8 hours a day that you hate. Right?
That literally kills my soul, the idea of it. I'm just like, no.
Oh, I know. I'd rather be broke and in joy than rich and in misery. I really,
Sure.
and I think part of me, that's how I'm able to take my leaps of faith and surrender. And I've done that, I think 4 times now, where I gave up a career where I was making about $85,000 a year to start my own business and make barely nothing, right? And I've done that 4 times now, where I've leapt into something completely unknown. And you know what you're speaking of, in order for us to align to our purpose and passion, it requires so much faith and so much trust in the universe, that when I align to these things that are so much greater than me, right? Purpose and passion are so much greater than us. The universe comes in and it provides us with everything we're going to need. But where we get freaked out as human beings is we think it needs to come when we want it, not when we need it. And I always tell people, the universe brings you what you need in that moment, no later, no sooner, right? So but our anxious selves, the part of us that doesn't want to take the leap of faith, needs it to come now. Like, show me 3 months in advance before I take my leap of faith that I'll be okay. But the universe doesn't work like that. The universe wants to see how committed you are to your purpose and passion before it provides you with everything you need to make it happen. So that's why I say sometimes we need to take blind leaps. And, you know, and I know a lot of people that are thinking right now, they might be challenging me, thinking, well, if I have 4 kids, I can't just take a blind leap. I gotta take care of my kids. So you obviously want to make sure that you're, you know, you're not just thinking of your own self. You want to think of everybody else, but it is so important to have trust and faith when you're doing this work.
Big time. And also, I'm very much in the camp of bringing it always back to the balance point, and so it is practical, and so it is accessible for everyone, because I believe everyone can get there, and it doesn't need to be very much based in anything in particular, but it is something which we all know, whether that's following the universe, which sure does give you what you need at the right time, or whether that's going, do you know what, this is what lights me up, and this is what I'm passionate about, and this is what I enjoy and have fun doing, and that language is the same. It's just different levels there, because some person might go, oh well, that doesn't really resonate with me, but actually I'm really enjoying painting this cup, so following that down the road and going that joy and that fun and that trust in following what you love is a big thing. So a lot of people love things and they don't let themselves do it.
Yeah, exactly. So in the work that you do, how do you help people? Because I know you have a course coming up, actually, and this is a great time to actually promote your course, because you have a course coming up on September 12th called Taking Your Freelance Life and Business to the Next Level by Finding Your Unique Superpower. And that just sounds so delicious. How do you help people find their unique superpower?
So the course now on the 26th, Saturday the 26th.
Okay, September 26th. Okay.
September 26th.
I'll have the link in the bio for all this stuff. But yeah,
I'll have that. How I do that is, we all think we need to be the same as everyone else, and we all think that we don't have enough of, whether that's experience or university credits or anything, we don't have enough to really succeed in what we want in life. However, we all have something that we are inherently good at, whatever that is, whether that's talking to people, whether that's inspiring people, whether that's artistry, whatever that is, we all have something we are really, really good at. And this course is designed to find that in yourselves, locate that, which I like to call superpower, that individuality, which is your selling point, which no one else has, that authenticity of you.
Yeah.
Blow that up, and then deal with all the things which come up in freelance life, all the limitations, all the fear of failure, the imposter syndrome, not feeling good enough, working alone, and breaking through them, coming out the other side, so then you can take your life, your business, your mindset to that next level, so that you are able to thrive and live the life that you essentially started out to do. But for some reason we keep ourselves small. So that is how we work through it. A number of exercises, a lot of community, raising all boats at the same time. Everyone's expertise helps everyone else out. And it's just about taking that next step, taking that leap, because everyone is ready to be where they want to be. Yeah. And it's just about getting the key, getting in the right direction and going, that's what I'm good at. That's what I can push. This is how I can share that with the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And it's, I think one of the, for people that are really struggling kind of finding what their purpose or passion is and what their unique superpower is, sometimes it's about looking at how do other people experience me, right? What do people come to me for? What's my unique skill set that people are looking to acquire from me? Because as human beings, we're interconnected, and people will see in us sometimes what we don't see in ourselves. And so it's important also, that's could be a unique way to see what you're good at. And I know for me, I've always been that kind of guy that people come and tell their secrets to, right? There's something about my energy that's just very, people say I'm very open, and they feel very safe with me. And so yeah, that's my unique selling point. And then I've taken that and I've turned it into a career and a business. And so yeah, I think there's so many ways that we can find what our unique superpower is, and then we can start to create energy and abundance and a business around these sorts of skill sets. So
that's it. And bringing it together, bringing the spiritual with the practical, and taking everything to that next level is where it's at.
Yeah, I agree. So something that I love to do with guests, because I like to have people on that are aligning. They don't have to be aligned to their authenticity, but they're aligning, and they're always doing the work to align to their authenticity. Because as we know and we determined today, it's very fluid. But I do something called This Is Me Tip of the Week. So this is me as a self-ownership statement, being like, this is me, I'm standing in my power, and this is who I am. What's one tip that you can share with the listeners that you've done, that works for you to help you own your power, own who you are, and be able to step into your authenticity?
One tip. Like we said, it's a constant journey. Yeah. But I would say, whenever you feel that wobble or that fear or that insecurity about doing something new, it will go against all instincts that you have, but you need to step beyond that, whether that's literally picking up the phone to call someone, going out, doing something, taking an action to take yourself closer to that goal. How do you move that needle? How do you move yourself out of that comfort zone, even if it's just a little bit? Even that's just a trial one day, see how it goes, see how you feel. And I have no doubt you will learn from it and grow from it. And it is scary as hell. And to realize it's scary as hell, and that's okay. Yeah. And if you fall, that's okay too. It's part of it. You'll get back up and you'll do it again.
Yeah. I love that. And I fully stand behind that. And for my experience too, I think the more we contemplate our authenticity, the less likely we are to take action and move through it. And I think there's a stage in the stages of change. You have, pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, right? And you really want to honor each stage, right? As you're starting to grapple with your authenticity and who I want to be and how I'm going to align to this person or this energy, we have to honor that the contemplation stage is important. But when we're actually going in and doing this work, action is the only cure. We got to push through the wobbles, we got to push through the uncomfortability and the fear and the shame and all that stuff, and just keep rooting forward. And that's how we develop the courage, is by pushing through the fear.
Yeah, and realizing that it's not the end of the world if something doesn't go the way you thought.
Exactly, yeah.
Because that is the only way you'll grow. The only way. You could stay safe and do the same thing your whole life, but you're not going to be where you want to be. Because the whole thing, that Einstein quote, the whole thing, doing the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
You need to step out of that comfort zone in that same routine.
Break the cycle, exactly. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your course. What can people expect if they enroll in this course? Share the deets.
The deets. It's a day-long course, so it's 9 hours. It's on Zoom, and it's predominantly for creative freelancers and freelancers who are not quite where they want to be, and who are very much don't have enough work-life balance, have this fear of failure, of judgment, of taking the wrong decisions, of constantly worrying. It is for all of you creative freelancers, and it's there to help you break through those limitations which are standing in the way of where you are now and where you ultimately want to be, through practical exercises, practical tips, community spirit, helping each other out, and just really breaking through those stuff and taking those leaps and doing those exercises and doing the work so that you can take all your business, all your life, your mindset to that level where you can really thrive. So that's what it's about.
I love it. And you'll send the landing page link to me so that I can share that in the show notes. So everything will be in the show notes. For people that want to connect with Caitlyn, you can find her at theauthenticproject.co.uk. And reach out, say hello. As you can see, for people that are watching this on YouTube, that she has an amazing energy. Her eyes light up when she talks about this stuff. So it's great. And for people that can't see her, you can hear it in her voice. She's just has such an infectious energy. And I felt a lot of joy talking to you today. Your energy is very radiant. So
likewise.
Yeah.
I feel like so many thoughts.
Yeah, it was very stimulating, this conversation, and it has me thinking a lot about stuff. So it's going to be cool for me to chew on this stuff afterwards as well, and it helps me come up with new content for people. And so yeah, I'm really happy, and that you're able to donate an hour of your time to us today to be able to share your insights and your energy with us. So thank you.
Thank you. I absolutely loved it. It's always a joy to speak to someone and people about something which is so important to everyone in the world, and that everyone knows that they can relate to.
I agree. We're doing really important work right now, and I think even especially right now, is people are really grappling with a lot of stuff in their shadows, and bringing their shadows out of the closet and integrating them and stuff. And a lot of this work, us giving people permission to be authentic by being authentic ourselves, is so important. So yeah, thank you. It was beautiful. Brilliant. Yeah, thank you. For people, give us subscribe, and let us know your comments in the comments below. And for people on YouTube, same thing. It's always good to have you guys chiming in and sharing your thoughts and opinions with us. Have a beautiful day, everybody.